Welcome to tonight's webinar where we're going to discuss the what and how of the video submission that is required for each challenge of the Lieutenant Governor's Computing Challenge. As you hopefully are already aware, there are 3 challenges for which students can choose from: the Concept Challenge, the Prototype Challenge, and the Development Challenge. Each challenge has specific criteria that must be submitted in order to have a complete submission and be considered for evaluation. However, regardless of which challenge you choose, there is an audio-visual component required. We'll now take a moment and look more closely at that requirement. For the Concept Challenge, we are asking you to simply create an audio-visual artifact. That means that students really have a great deal of flexibility in what that artifact might look like. It may be narrated slides, it may be a video, lots of options. In the Prototype Challenge, we are asking that students create a video. The purpose of the video in this particular challenge is so that we can see the piece of the solution that has been coded to function appropriately. Finally, in the Development Challenge, we are also asking that students create a video where they will actually show their complete application fully functioning in the video. So let's rethink about what the video is, the purpose, the requirements, and what format you can submit your video in. Again, in the Concept Challenge, we want you to be creative and show us you have a great idea. As previously mentioned, we are not going to hold students to any one type of media for them to demonstrate their creativity. What we will hold them to is a video that is no longer than 1 minute in length. As you think about creating your video, you want to think about what have you done for your idea. If you were to code your idea, what type of solution would it be? A game, a website, a mobile app? How would it work? Who would it be for? Give us any additional details that you think have not been captured in your responses to the written questions. We're encouraging you to use narration to further explain your idea, but it is not required. In order to ensure that your video submission is accepted, it needs to be either a YouTube or through Google Drive. But if using Google Drive, make sure you create it as a shareable link. The Prototype Challenge requires that we see what it is that you created. In the Prototype Challenge, you have to have one function of your app fully working. That's what we want the video to show. In order to do that, we are giving you up to 2 minutes in length, and we would like to see the user interface, meaning what would the user see when they went to your solution? Demonstrate to us how the feature that you programmed works, and then take it that one step further and explain how it would work if it had been fully developed. In this particular instance, it will be important that you narrate that video so we understand all of the components that you are showing. Again, this will be submitted through YouTube or Google Drive to your Launchpad account. There is a tutorial that explains in further detail how that video is to be submitted. Lastly, the development challenge needs to provide a complete walkthrough of your entire program, start to finish. How would a user interact with that application? In doing so, you're selling your idea. We're giving you 3 minutes to do that, and we encourage you to think about the language that you used in order to create your solution. What tools or applications did you find useful? Remember to show and explain all the features of the program, and then include that with the narration so that we know which pieces you're explaining at what time. Just a reminder, it would be a great idea to check out the tutorial on how to submit before you prepare your video. There's a variety of tools that you can use in order to create the video part of your submission. I am now going to turn it over to Barbara Johnson, who will take some time and explain many of the details for a video submission.
Thanks, Jen. Hi, everybody. This is Barbara, and I'm going to take you through several tools pretty quickly on how to create your video submission. Some of these tools are great for the video creation. Some of them are great for editing your video together, and some of them are going to be great for creating an avatar or animate yourself in case you don't want to be on screen. The first 3 tools I'm going to introduce are going to be a great way to capture you and your screen at the same time to meet all the requirements for any all three of the challenges. You can create just an audio submission or create the complete video for your audio and visual explanation of your challenge. The first tool I'd like to introduce is Screencastify. This meets the Connecticut privacy law, and I want to show with the ones that have already signed on to the Connecticut Software Hub, I've marked with a Connecticut Department Administrative Services seal so that you can easily identify which meet Connecticut privacy requirements for students. Screencastify does have a 5-minute limit, but that's well within the parameters of your video challenges you have to submit. You can embed your webcam and your audio, as well as edit the video through Screencastify. The interface that you have at Screencastify is very simple. However, this is an extension that you add into Google Chrome. So if you're not using Google Chrome, you may want to choose one of the other screen capturing options. You would grab this at the Chrome Web Store and install the toolbar. Once installed, you do have to log in with your Google account. The great thing is that this video is automatically stored right to your Google Drive. You can change the shareable link right from the interface of Screencastify. You can turn on and off your webcam, embed your video, and even draw right on your screen as you're capturing your video. With just a few clicks of a button, you can capture your screen and any details you want to include. A second choice for you is Screencast-O-Matic. This is a great choice because you don't need to install anything. It's a complete web interface and it's free. There are very few restrictions with a free account. You can create and edit your videos right here. The challenge is then downloading and then putting your video either on YouTube or in your Google account. Creates and stores everything right on a web platform for you, so you can use this on your phone, on your Chromebook, on your Mac, whatever you're using to create your videos. The platform is exactly the same. You can embed your webcam or not, and annotate the screen as you're recording what you're presenting. Finally, Loom, which is a great tool because it's device agnostic, meaning you can use it on any device. It's an app, it's an extension, it loads on a Mac, and it's a small program you can run on your PC. I found that the best and most productive way is to download it onto my laptop. That's the most robust version, and it gives you the most editing and detailed dashboard. It's super easy to use. Their interface looks very similar to Screencastify. You can see here I've embedded my smiley face on my dashboard as I was explaining my screen. The dashboard to stop, start, and rewind, or even just get rid of it, is really easy to find. And again, you can annotate and write on your screen as you're recording, and that's captured as well. This also you need to download or save to your computer, and then we'll need to upload to YouTube or push it out to your Google Drive. Tools for editing. While some of the screen capturing tools allow you to edit, there are a couple of really great tools that will let you add the pizzazz, descriptions, cartoons, and use green screen effects or Chroma Key if you wanted to start getting fancy with your video. Capwing is another really great resource. It's completely web-based and it's just a click away. It meets Connecticut privacy agreements, and you can edit, you can crop videos. So you can see here, I actually took a Voki, which is an animated character that I've narrated. I'm going to show you that in a minute. And I can crop out all of the screens from my video. I can edit the sound, I can add subtitles here, I can add other images, I can actually create all of my video elements, make sure it meets the time requirements, and then export this video to my Google Drive or download it into MP4 formats. WeVideo is, again, a web-based product. It is connected to Google, however, it is not connected to their privacy agreement. So I did go on to the Software Hub and make sure that it was privacy compliant for the state of Connecticut. This does have a limit in the free version of how much video you can upload and how much of your own media you can store there. But for your 2, 3, and 1 minute videos, you have plenty of room here to do what you need to do. You can do Chroma Key here. So if you filmed yourself in front of a solid background, you could drop virtual backgrounds here. I can add text in the foreground and background. I can add pictures, video, and edit all of my videos here. You can pull things right from your Google Drive and then again, store them in your Google Drive. So that would meet all the requirements for you to edit and complete your video. Finally, tools to animate. Not everyone is comfortable getting in front of the camera and explaining. Powtoon is a really great way to create an avatar or an animated character that could speak for you. This works much like a Google Slides presentation, except it's got templates for people, characters, objects that you can then add, animate, and add text and sound to. You can create several blank slides and then play it like a movie. You can export this movie and download it. Or if you were more comfortable, sometimes I do app smashing and I would Screencastify a presentation. That way I could narrate over some of my slides that I had here. You aren't able to record your own voice for these characters. They would come up more up like speech bubbles. So it's more of a cartoon. There are more realistic characters, backgrounds, texts, and shapes that you can go and add to here. And then again, you could just use Screencastify. So as this video is playing, you could then narrate over the top of it and it would capture both your Powtoon and your voice description. Voki is a really great way to create an avatar or a character for yourself. They have just the character you could create, or they have a 3-slide presentation where you can actually record your own voice either through your computer and microphone or your telephone, or you can type the words and select the voice that you'd like to speak for you. I recognize that not everyone wants to get on camera to explain their project, but maybe you'd feel more comfortable recording your voice and designing a character that could speak for you. Then again, here's where I did some app smashing. I can then take this into WeVideo or Capwing. I can crop this down and use that blue background, that my avatar, and I can actually remove that using the Chroma Key function and put that in my classroom or right inside my program so that my avatar is presenting from inside the thing that I've designed or the project that I'm presenting. You can use Screencastify or any of the screen capturing to narrate your presentation from here. Or again, you can call in, microphone in, or type in whatever descriptions you are going to want to have your Voki character say. Animaker is another really fun, it's kind of fun, live action videos where you can create, edit, and share. Again, this is sort of like Powtoon, but these will move. These you can actually add little snippets of videos and music to make a complete interactive movie for yourself. So you can actually put sounds in here, record your voice over these characters. There's a very large variety of characters, even in the free version, where you can design and make them reminiscent of yourself. You can put in backgrounds, you can drop in your own pictures, you can use Screencastify to capture images of your program or the meeting the challenges, and then drop them into this presentation and have this video, this character, then describe and animate and narrate your project. Again, this, you publish it, it gives you a shareable link. So you'll want to download it onto your computer or down onto your Chromebook to get that shareable link to push up to YouTube or put into your Google Drive. One of my personal favorites and something I use with my students all the time is Animoto. This is you are able to get a free educator account. If you use a free student version, you're only able to create 30-second videos, which is too short. However, if you created a few 30-second videos, then you could go back and use one of the editors to merge those 3 videos together. However, if you have a teacher's email address, you can go to Animoto under a free educator account, and I put that link in the resources later with the tutorials. You can get a free educator account, and that gives you a code to distribute to 35 students that allows them a free unlimited account where they can then create multi-minute, multi-song videos. This is completely copyright compliant with music. It's made just for Animoto. There are songs, maybe not so applicable here, but if you were using this for another purpose, you could put songs here. You can change styles. There's templates here. You can add text, you can add photos, and you can add 10-second videos. So you could use Screencastify or one of the other screen capturing apps to capture your program working or your project, and then bring them into here, mix them with words and sound to make a very engaging, interesting video to explain your project and what you did to meet the challenge. Canva is another way to create a great video. Again, they have a wonderful platform. Please use the free version. You can upload pieces of your video. You can then add text, add photos. They have plenty of templates for you to start with. And you create this much like a slides presentation. They call it pages. You add multiple pages with pictures, words, and then you can play this. It will slide them together or merge them together in a seamless video. And then you can download this video to then share in Google or create push up to YouTube for yourself. Finally, Storyboard that. This is a really great way to kind of get your thought process. So for that first challenge, if you just needed a place to kind of gather your thoughts and then record yourself explaining it, there are characters here. They don't move. This is much like a graphic novel or a comic strip. You would create this. With the free version, there are a limited amount of characters, backgrounds. You can upload some information, but you can't upload pictures or videos. The free version is very, very restrictive. And I want to just point that out to you. While it is a great tool to kind of think out your process, it might not be the tool or the only tool you use to meet this challenge. So you can't record audio here in the free version, and it doesn't auto save. So a lot of times we've gotten into the habit of just doing your work and closing the tab. If you don't hit save here, you're gonna lose your work. So it's very important that here you keep hitting that save button. You know, those things happen where you've run out of battery and boom, your laptop or Chromebook shuts down. Please, if you're using Storyboard, that make sure intermittently you're hitting the save button. The other thing is that it limits you to either a 3-slide layout or a 6-slide layout. There's no in-betweens. So you either have to consolidate to 3 slides or explain out your thinking to 6 slides. Some of the other things I want to point out, in the free edition, everything is public. They do not guarantee any privacy. All storyboards can be viewed, copied, and searched on Google. So please, please, please make sure you're very careful with the amount of information that you're sharing on Storyboard. That I'm sure that you're going to want to put first names, last names, maybe your school. Please be careful if this is free and searchable on Google, that you're making sure that you're protecting yourself while you're on the internet. Finally, I did put together the tutorials for each and every one of these tools. I know that I went through things super quickly, but I put the links for all the tutorials to any of the videos right here for you. And those go right to the video tutorial. So you can click and share that link and it brings you to the actual Animoto website. It's not some, I love teachers sharing their learning, but it's not somebody's teacher on YouTube who recorded it for their students. This is coming from the company. Make sure it gives you the support if you need help. And please feel free that if you need help, reach out to me. I teach this to my students and teachers all the time. I'd be happy to support your efforts, do a Google Meet with you, or check in with you and help support your training of your students or teachers. 2 things to please, please, please keep in mind. Do not upgrade to a paid version of anything. Everything that I've suggested, the free version is absolutely perfectly acceptable and will create an amazing 3-minute or less video. Do not upgrade to anything. And then if you're advising students or if you're watching this video and you're under 13, you cannot open an account on your own. You have to ask parent permission, and you want to make sure that you're using best practices and know the privacy guidelines that any and all of these websites or extensions are using. Please keep yourself safe, and please feel free to reach out anytime you need support with any of these. And now I'm going to hand it back to Kristen.
Oh, Kristen, we lost your audio real quick there. Yeah, we get you back.
Thank you so much. That was an amazing group of tools that you just provided. And there are so many options there for whether you're doing the concept challenge, the prototype, or the development challenge. So I love that there's the option that I can put my own video, and also that I can use cartoon characters and have fun with it, as well as even have an avatar speak for me. I mean, that's just super cool. So I really hope and look forward to seeing the creativity that students are going to have the opportunity just kind of just run with it, right? And see what we get for these audio visual components. Of course, we'll still need to see that coding solution, right? So we need to see your app or your game or whatever you've decided. So that's great. So That's will have to be done with some of the filming that you do on your end. And so in addition to these really super cool tools that you just heard about, we want to talk a little bit about some things that we want you to keep in mind while you're doing some filming yourself, whether you're pulling up your own device or whether you're going old school with a camcorder. These are things that we definitely want you to keep in mind before just jumping in and filming. A lot of times that's what we do, but we're going to encourage you to please first review the particular requirements for the challenge that you are submitting for, because they different between each one. So some of them are requiring narration, some don't. Some want you to show some of the features and some don't. So we reviewed them earlier in this webinar, but you can also see them up on the website. Once you've decided kind of, what your challenge requirements are, think about all the tools that you just heard about, or maybe you know of one yourself. Maybe you have some mad iMovie skills or something. That's great. But plan ahead what software you're going to use and make sure that all your tech is working properly. If you're going to be videotaping your coding solution, then we want to make sure you do a nice dry run through it first to make sure that all the buttons are working as expected. So it just kind of makes the videoing going a little bit smoother. We encourage you to plan out your video. Make sure that you have a beginning, a middle, and end. Introduce your team, your idea, give us the content, the meat of the video, and then wrap it up with a conclusion. Maybe you have plans for future expansion if given more time, or perhaps you have something else to share with us. So give some thought to the different pieces that you want to include in your video. That way, when you go to film, you are able to capture all of it. And also when you film, the people who are in your video, if that's what you choose, they know what they're going to say. So writing a script beforehand and knowing like who is going to speak which lines is super important. Of course, if you're going to be using some of these cool avatar or animation tools that you just learned about, you're going to need to write a script in order to prepare that. But if you're going to film one another, make sure that you have some knowledge about who is going to say what and at what point. So it has a little bit planned features to it. If you are going to be narrating, maybe you can also decide what visuals ahead of time you want to include in your script. Perhaps when you are introducing your team, you want a still image while you're voicing over. When you are showing us your computing solution, maybe you're going to actually show the moving through the solution while you voice over that. So as you write a script, it's really helpful maybe even to put do like a T-bar setup where you have the script on one side and the visual that you'd like to show on the other side. That way, when you go and sit down and actually film, or when you go to edit, it makes it a smoother process. And of course, always practice, practice, practice. No matter how many times you think, okay, I got this. When you go to film, it's amazing how you can get a little tongue-tied. I think I've done that a few times already, just in this little bit. So practice is going to make it more perfect, I promise. Now, there's some technical things that we want you to consider also. Of course, being prepared and planning out is super important. But when you actually get down to filming, you do want to make sure that you keep these few things in mind. First of all, you want to check out your environment. Consider your surroundings when you're filming. If you're like me and you have a very talkative cat, maybe you want to account for that prior to filming your video. If you have younger siblings, maybe you want to be aware, let them aware that you're filming and that maybe that background noise can be a little bit more curtailed. When you go ahead and film, whether you're filming your phone or each other, lighting is always going to play a part. So if you want to make sure that there's adequate lighting. You can even see, maybe if you're seeing all of our video thumbnails right now, that we have different lighting in our homes, and some are probably more clear than others. So that's something that you might want to keep in mind. And if you are filming in the daytime, you definitely want your subjects not to be standing in front of a window or a bright light. That's going to shadow their faces. And you should be able to see that while you're filming, and you can make those adjustments on the fly. But just knowing that ahead of time might be helpful. If you are going to take out your phone and film a device or a computer screen, make sure you really pay attention to the lighting. You may need to adjust the screen brightness on the device that you are filming. So playing around with that and finding the right combo is going to be important. When it comes to sound, of course, if you are speaking, we'd like you to be very clear and articulate, and we want to make sure that we can hear you. So you may want to test the volume, perhaps do a small test take, and then play it back to make sure that you can hear your own voice. Sometimes we think we're speaking loud enough, but you never know how your voice is going to carry to the microphone on the device which you're filming. So just be mindful of that and give a little test run ahead of time before going in and just filming everything. Of course, as before, as with the environment, you want to be aware of background sounds as well, because your microphone is going to pick up on things like that as well. If you are speaking, that practice is going to come real handy when you can think about how quickly or how slowly you need to speak. Because remember, you do have a time limit. So if you have only 1 minute and you have a lot to say, we want you to make sure that you articulate that, but also not talk really fast where we don't understand what you're saying. So you're going to want to write a script ahead of time, so we don't have to try and figure out what you're saying. So kind of think about your pacing. And of course, if you want to include video and some background noise, or you want to jazz up your presentation with some music, just make sure it's not overpowering. We really do want to hear you and your ideas. And if you have any sounds in your computing solution, those are important for us to witness as well. So music is cool, but not overpowering, because it'll be hard for us to really enjoy and appreciate your work. Lastly, if you are filming, if you have access to the tripod, that would be amazing. If not, you may want to get creative and come up with some stack of books to hold your device. But really, if you're hand holding, it's really important to be mindful of the stability of your device, and always actually just holding your device, even if you're holding yourself like a tripod. And if you need to film anyone, you can treat your body like a tripod as well. So you don't actually need a physical tripod, but just be mindful so that your film is as steady as possible. So a lot to consider in regards to planning and tech. If you need more information regarding any of this, you can always visit our website. Hopefully you know that address by now, but it's on the screen for you here. We have plenty of webinars on a variety of topics that have already occurred, and still a couple more to come. And we also have all of these videos, as well as the submission prompts and guidelines, and a lot of tips and tricks. So it's a wealth of information. And of course, you can always email us at info@ltgovcc.org, and you get to chat with one of us, and we are always willing to help. Now I'm just going to turn it over to Jennifer to kind of close us out for the evening.
Thank you, Kristen. So tonight we shared with you a wide range of information to make sure that your submission is complete and your video is fantastic, so that as we review, we're blown away by all your creative and wonderful ideas. I'd just like to remind you that the Lieutenant Governor's Computing Challenge would not be possible without the support of our many sponsors, including and Advance, Infosys Foundation USA, Google, Microsoft Teams, and of course, the Connecticut State Department of Education. Hopefully I haven't missed anyone just yet. If I did, I apologize. Have a great night, and we can't wait to see those videos.